Happy Father's Day, everybody here. This is another severe weather forecast here, and it's likely we can have a potential for a severe weather outbreak on Father's Day. So maybe a Father's Day outbreak. We just got a level 4 moderate risk added for portions of the South Central here in the plains for much of today here due to the possibility for potential really strong tornadoes, damaging winds, and extremely large hail here. So this is, I believe, our third moderate risk of June so far, if not our fourth. And this is absolutely crazy here. Actually, maybe our fourth moderate risk of June so far. We're going to continue to see these brewing storms continue to develop and become very strong supercells or QSESs. Continue to develop for portions of the South Central and general Central Plains here. We have millions at risk. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the timing, where we're going to have the worst event, and also where we're going to be seeing the best possibility for all these impacts. But before we get in the video, please smash that like button and subscribe button to show your awesome support. But now let's get into the video. So here we are looking at the National Weather Service here. As you see, we are looking at right here this general area for severe weather for today. We do have a moderate risk for portions of Kansas and Oklahoma, I believe so. And here we have this potential for some very strong storms also outside of this moderate risk as well. I did not expect a moderate risk here, but here we are. Of course, with a moderate risk for portions of Kansas and Oklahoma. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for central Kansas and also severe thunderstorm warnings for portions of Iowa, and also scattered flash flood warnings, flash flood watches, flash flood warnings, and even flood advisories for the general areas of the plains here due to really heavy rain, and also some developing flash flooding due to these very strong supercells and semi-discrete systems developing for portions of the South Central. So if we actually take a look at the satellite imagery here, you can actually see these storms, these brewing storms for portions of Kansas and actually Nebraska right now. We're seeing some really strong brewing storms for portions of Kansas, mainly where we had a severe thunderstorm warning with a very strong potential semi-discrete system or discrete cell that could very well bring in very large hail and strong winds. Exactly why we had that severe thunderstorm warnings county due to the strong winds and also damaging hail, and likely we maybe have a possibility for a tornadic cell later on today, or multiple tornadic cells later today. Main threat today is wind and hail, and also the least threat is a smaller threat is tornadoes with a 5% chance, which could very well become a 10% chance non-hatch risk. So as you see, really strong cells developing for portions of the South or the Central Plains today. You can see a really dense cloud cover. We're going to continue to see a huge line of dense cloud cover today, like a potential squall line like we saw in the Dakotas 2 weeks ago here in the first weeks of June, where we saw those 2 straight moderate risk, I believe so. So here we have those brewing storms. We're going to be seeing a lot more cloud cover later today. I might have another evening update depending on my plans for today. But here we have some potential discrete cells developing for portions of Kansas and Nebraska, which will obviously become a bit more widespread later in the day as Cape Values and all the energy comes into play. So here we are looking at the day 1 outlook here, and they just updated this not too long ago, a couple minutes ago, like 20-30 minutes ago. Here we have this moderate risk for portions of Kansas and Oklahoma. They're actually not even too far from the Texas area as well. So right here is where we have our moderate risk, which I did not expect really, but Oklahoma and Kansas right there. And as you see this, we have a very widespread enhancers as well, all the way from South Dakota to Oklahoma and portion of Texas. We have a very widespread threat for today. So if you're in the enhanced risk and moderate risk, you definitely want to be on the lookout for today, because we are possibly seeing some strong tornadoes, extremely large hail, maybe softballs to larger sized hail today, and also going to be seeing 90+ mile an hour winds. Also, we have a very widespread slight risk due to the big wind and hail probabilities all the way from Texas to portions of Minnesota. But the enhanced risk, if you're in the orange counties or red counties, you definitely want to be on your tippy toes for today, as you are not out of the woods for severe weather. We are back at this April-May pattern here, where we have a moderate risk and enhanced risk and all these severe weather events in the South Central and original Tornado Alley. Earlier in June, we saw that for more of the Midwest here, but now it's shifted back to the South Central and Central Plains like we usually do. And as you check out the tornado probability, it's maintaining at a lower number here, only a 5% chance for 2 areas in the Central Plains and even portions of the Midwest, and also including portions of the Southern Plains here, Kansas and Oklahoma, where we have a 5% chance. If you're in the brown counties, including the 5% chance, you definitely still want to be on the lookout for tornadoes. We've had multiple tornadoes in the past in areas that are less than a 2% chance. So if you're in a 5% chance, you definitely want to be on the lookout. Now we're looking at the wind threat. We have a 45% chance hatch risk for hail. That means we're definitely going to be seeing extremely severe hail. Look at this right here. That's going to be including southwestern Kansas near Dodge City. If you're near Dodge City or Garden City, Kansas, you for sure want to be on the lookout. We have a very widespread hatch risk all the way from Texas there to portions of Iowa and South Dakota. And even if you're getting a 30% chance for hail, you'd still want to be on the lookout. Wind threat, even worse, a very widespread 45% chance hatch risk as well. So wind and hail both have a 45% chance hatch risk for these areas here. And you see we have a very widespread 30% chance hatch risk as well for portions of Oklahoma all the way to Nebraska. And here is our hatch risk. So if you're in this hatch risk, you definitely want to be on the lookout. This is where we'll definitely be seeing most of the hail reports today and the worst of the hail today, especially for Oklahoma and Kansas, where we have the enhanced risk. If you're anywhere near northwestern Oklahoma or southwestern Kansas in that purple or even that hatch risk, you definitely want to either park your cars inside. You definitely don't want to be outside when these really strong storms start to develop. And these storms are going to be very fast moving, which means they can arrive within minutes of your area. They can obviously last a lot less or a lot shorter, but still going to be seeing these really large impacts here for today. So here we are looking at the South Central today. As you see, we're starting to see these really strong storms developing for portions in Kansas, like we saw on the satellite imagery. We saw a lot of cloud coverage during the dense stuff for those areas here. As you see later today in the evening, we're going to see these really strong storms heading to the areas where we have that hatch risk here. Right here's where we have that really big possibility for extremely large supercells that can maybe have hook echoes. And doesn't really matter if it looks like this. We can still have tornadoes that can be like in these little cells. It's kind of the smaller cells that matter. So these are like more like squall lines, depending on what it is. Obviously, these can either be semi-discrete cells, discrete. Most of those really large ones are not like supercells. Anything that are supercells are going to be like really miniature little cells like this. So don't worry about the size on radar. It's just the intensity wise. And as you see, these really strong storms really sort of ramp up into the evening hours here. Really powerful storms moving throughout Oklahoma City there, moving to areas near Norman, and then that kind of fall apart a little bit. But still going to be seeing really strong storms into Monday, which is tomorrow. Obviously, you're going to start seeing some stronger storms where we have a slight risk due to these these storms kind of fall apart. I don't think we'll necessarily see maybe an enhanced risk tomorrow, but I'm not going to rule out the possibility because I don't think we're going to have really a moderate today. Let's go and check out the northern plains though, because we are also seeing a potential risk for some really strong storms in that potential vicinity there of the northern plains. It's going to extend that a little bit more to the plains there. As you see, really strong storms are likely for this area. As you see, you can very well see some really large potential squall lines all the way from Kansas to Iowa. Like I said, in satellite imagery, we're going to see some really strong squall line. You're going to see that on satellite imagery. Really powerful bands for portions of Iowa, which is where we have the enhanced risk as well for portions of Iowa, and even the slight risk there. So we cannot forget about the Midwest here. Very powerful squall lines are likely, maybe even derechos are likely heading toward the Des Moines area later today, and then could very well fall apart. But that's going to bring that really possibility for some strong storms into Monday, which is tomorrow, for another severe weather possibility threat for now the potential Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, and even portions of the Midwest. So let's go and take a look at the CAPE values here. As you see, we're seeing a decent amount of CAPE here, which is the amount of energy in the atmosphere to produce storms, including instability, humidity, overday heating, all of that really, even including helicity there, all of that, it comes into play. As you see, we're seeing a decent numbers here, up to some surpassing 2,000 joules per kilogram. But later in the evening, those storms, these CAPE values blow up out of nowhere here, which is exactly when we're going to be seeing exactly why and when we'll see those storms continuing to just blow up out of nowhere, where we can go from 0 tornado reports in an hour to now 5 tornado reports in the next hour. We're going to be seeing it surpassing 4,000 joules per kilogram for those areas in portions of Texas, even around 4,000 joules per kilogram for portions as far north as Nebraska. Look at these numbers. This is exactly where you have that possibility for severe weather there. As you see, possibly 5,000 joules per kilogram there, nearing just surpassing 4,000 or surpassing 5,000 today. And then we're going to be seeing possibly above 5,000 tomorrow as well. 5,010 joules per kilogram, 5,062 there. Maybe even might pass 5,100 tomorrow. So very favorable condition for severe weather in the next coming days here, including today, tomorrow, and maybe even the 23rd. Now we're taking a look at the STP, which is supercell composite parameter. This is measuring the possibility for seeing supercells based on a graph. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. As you see, we're seeing a really high number starting out today at a 31, which is extremely high probability for supercells today. And then we have a very widespread number here for 25, 23, maybe 27 here later on for a portion of the Texas here. So those are really good numbers. Anything higher than the 20 is considered a high probability for supercells, which supercells obviously cause tornadoes, extremely large hail, and those are really the storms that get that get warned. 37 here, 34, very good numbers for portions of the Texas and Oklahoma area. And then we have a huge peak as well for tomorrow in the slight risk there, 22, 31, 32, very good numbers. We can very well see a decent amount of supercells today and tomorrow. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, though. We have now a moderate risk, which I did not expect for a Father's Day, so we might have a Father's Day outbreak as well. So Father's Day outbreak is likely. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, and bye guys.